This next tip may be something that you're gonna just roll your eyes at me on, but you need to hear it. I have a question for you. When you let your dogs to go outside, like my foster Maisie, do they eat grass excessively? Like, are you scratching your head like, why is my dog eating grass? If so, this video is for you. I'm gonna be talking a little bit about why your dog may be eating grass, and more importantly, what you can do about it to help stop or discourage them from eating grass excessively. All right, now we are ready to really jump into this video. In my experience of fostering dozens and dozens of rescue dogs, many of which actually eat grass in moderate ways, but my most familiar experience is my Labrador Bentley, who used to do it in a really big way. I have learned that there are really 4 main reasons why dogs eat grass in a moderate to excessive way. The number one reason being a lack of nutrients in their body or fiber. And so they're trying to get nutrients, specific enzymes that they're not getting from their diet that you're feeding them, they're trying to get from the grass. Another reason, maybe their stomach could be upset. Some dogs find it somewhat soothing on their stomach to eat grass because many times it ultimately, TMI, makes them throw up. And so, when you're feeling nauseous and your stomach's upset, sometimes, again, sorry, TMI, but you know how throwing up can make you feel better? Some dogs get the same sensation. Or another reason may be that they're bored. And a dog who's highly anxious or full of energy that is not getting enough mental and physical exercise and stimulation could just be bored, and eating grass could just be something entertaining or stimulating for them to do. And this is a hard one for pet parents to grasp in many cases, but it may be that they just want to eat grass. There may not be one specific issue, it may be a combination of issues. Now that we know 4 common reasons that your dog may be eating grass, let's talk about how we can stop that behavior and discourage it in a healthy and effective way. And that first reason is consider feeding a fresh food raw diet. So if you don't know what I mean by that, I have multiple videos linked down below. But if you think about a dog eating grass, many times they're doing this, like we discussed before, because their body is deficient in specific micronutrients, fiber, and just general lacking of fresh food options. Think about how you feel if you were to eat a diet of cereal every single day or McDonald's every single day, because that's really, in essence, what kibble, processed dry food, and or canned food is. And a lot of the nutrients, if not all of them, are processed and cooked out. So I think the first thing to consider is, if you're feeding a processed food, to consider feeding a whole, fresh, raw food diet. This next tip may be something that you're gonna just roll your eyes at me on, but you need to hear it. And it is to help discourage your dog or stop your dog from eating grass is just that. Don't let it happen. Many times we let our dogs go outside off leash in the backyard to go potty, and then we let them back in. And what we find is when we do that, a dog who obsessively eats grass will just run outside and go straight to a patch of grass and start eating it. If you go outside with your dog, you put a harness on or a leash or a collar with a leash, and you walk them on leash, you let them do their business, and you come right back inside, what you're doing is you're not allowing them to practice the behavior of eating the grass. And if it's more of a behavior reason of why they're eating grass and kind of a habit, if you physically stop that habit simply by walking them on leash and then gently walking them back inside when they're done going potty, you can help break that kind of cycle. I know it seems super common sense, and taking your dog outside on leash is not the most convenient thing, but it can be super, super effective. If you are really struggling with stopping your dog from eating grass, and you've already consulted with a holistic and or integrative vet, because if I haven't mentioned it already, obviously anytime your dog is doing an unwanted behavior, I always recommend consult with a medical professional. Particularly, I recommend holistic and integrative veterinarians. Obviously I'm not a veterinarian, but working with one is always helpful. But one thing you can do, if you really think it's a behavior thing, is, but first, before we go over that, OMG, I live for his paws. One thing you guys can do, if you think it's behavior driven, is teach your dog the leave it command. And If you don't know how to do that, I have a video linked up here and down below. It's really an effective command that can actually be a lifesaver, literally, for your dog. So I do encourage you to go watch that video link down below later on the concept of leave it. But if you teach them that command and you tell them to not eat the grass by telling them to leave it, that could be a really effective way. Again, if we're thinking that the reason they're eating grass is because they're bored, they're not getting a ton of exercise, and you're at work all day and you're just not working with them as much as you'd like to, that may be your reason. Your dog could be highly anxious or high energy, aka bored, and they may need more stimulation in their life. They may just be eating grass because they're getting attention from it. You may be, every time they go outside and you see them eating grass and you go, "Oh, Rover, don't eat grass, no, no, no." What are you doing? You're giving them attention. And if they're a dog that needs a lot of energy expended, which is 99.9% of dogs, they may be doing it to get a reaction out of you, because to them, it just may be a way to get, like I said, your attention. You know your dog best. So you may suspect that the reason that they are eating grass is because their body is deficient in essential micronutrients, minerals, fiber, because those are often the common things that dogs crave when they are eating grass. So a few things that you can add to their diet to really amp up those things, micronutrients, fiber, are super greens. Think kale. Think of superfoods like spirulina, which is really high in protein. Or think about things like raw goat milk, which is packed with, what is it? Probiotics. Probiotics are excellent for gut health. And if your dog does not have a happy, healthy gut, they're going to many times and often express issues outwardly, physically. And that may be dry, itchy skin, that may be anxiety or stress, that may be eating grass. It could be a multitude of things. So these are just a few items, and I have more linked below if you're curious and you want to really amp up your dog's diet, of things that you can add into their daily menu, if you will, because I know you're their chef. So I told you I was going to give you 5 ways or 5 tips to help discourage and stop your dog from eating grass. Well, I actually have one more. We'll call it a bonus tip, if you will. Many of you are not going to like it, especially if this is the first time you've heard of doing something like this. And I want to caveat with, if you think there may be an issue around this next topic, please always work with a holistic or integrative veterinarian. This is just something that you can talk with them about. But what I do with my dogs is, if I believe that they have an upset stomach, I choose to fast them for 24 hours. I know many of you may be going, wait, what? Fast my dog? No, my dog is hungry. My dog would starve. My dog would hate me. I'm telling you right now, this video is not about fasting. If you want a video about fasting and the benefits of it and why I actually fast my dogs fairly regularly, not daily, but once or twice a month on average, I'll comment below, and if I get, I don't know, at least 10 comments on that, I'll make a video on it. A dog who has an upset stomach, if they continue to eat food, it could cause continued GI upset. If you fast them just for one day, just one 12-hour, 18-hour day, to where they can just not feed them that day, it can give their body a chance to kind of work through maybe a little stomach bug that they have. So that is something, again, if you think your dog's sick, take them to a vet. I hope that's very clear. I hope that if you're watching this, you know that you should never punish your dog for eating grass. I don't feel like I really need to say that, but I want to make sure that's uber clear. I would not ever punish them, right? Like, they're likely, not always, but most of the time, eating grass because there's a reason. There's a need that they feel or a gap that they want to fill. And so you don't ever want to punish them. Redirection is fine. Trying to help solve whatever that issue or problem is excellent. Working with a veterinarian, is a holistic veterinarian, is awesome, but never, never, never punish that. Let me jump into real quick, guys, comment of the day. While I'm pulling up comment of the day, are you guys following us on Instagram? So it's just my name, @RachelFasaro, and I do daily posts either on my feed or more than often than not in my stories. So the video that I'm pulling the bark remark or comment of the day from is called 6 Dog Myths You Fell For, ... probably. And the comment is by Ina Stanley, who said, "I love this list of myths. I fell for every one of them in the beginning and having worked in vet med for 15 years, not only was I required to jump on the bandwagon at work, but I started to believe things we were required to tell clients in day out. The biggest ones for me were too frequent vaccination, flea tick prevention, kibble with my senior Chihuahua. He literally got vaccines every year up until about 2015. I hate that because I thought I was doing the right thing. Then I started to hear about certain research and decided to do some digging on my own. In particular, I heard about vets testifying about vaccine doses for small dogs versus large giant dogs, and that started a spiral of research for me. Basically, there were concerns from many vets that a 10-pound dog was being given the exact same dosage of the rabies vaccine as a 100-pound dog was being given. That's crazy to think about, which she's right, guys, especially considering that small dogs are so much more susceptible to toxicity issues and can go down much more quickly. Again, very true. Then in 2017, we adopted a German Shepherd dog that was diagnosed with EPI. That's when I started to research raw feeding. He was dying on kibble, and I didn't want him to have to be on medication for the rest of his life. From there, I started learning about canine behavior and body language and everything else. It's a learning process. I hate that I didn't know better then, but I'm so glad that I do now. Ina, or Ina, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, you're flipping incredible. I hope you know that. I love that you were vulnerable to share your journey. I think even just you sharing that comment and then me sharing it here, think of all the dogs that you're potentially going to help, the pet parents that you're going to inspire. So thank you so much for that. And guys, make sure if you're watching this video, which you are, it's kind of silly, but comment below. Comment something that you have learned as a pet parent that has helped your dog be healthier, that has helped you be a better pet parent. Because the more comments we flood this video with, the more people we're gonna help. So definitely flood my comment section with things you've learned. Doesn't even have to be just for me, just in general. Like, let's inspire and empower each other. And I hope that you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.